the biggest story of this past week, right? We've all been following the whole Diddy situation that's been going on, and he was finally brought in. He was arrested. He willingly came to New York. I think it was like a week prior, a couple of days. He came. He sold his mansions. Obviously, he came to New York willingly with his family, and he was arrested, detained. He was booked in, and he is now at MDC, Manhattan Detention Center, which is actually in Brooklyn right now. And they have tons of situations like charges going against him, like sex trafficking, racketeering, and all these different charges against him. It's such a sad case. We've been following the story for a long time, right? And it all just came to a head right now. And right now, he tried to get out, right? He's been in for probably almost a week now. It's maybe 5-6 days, whatever. I think it happened on Tuesday of this past week or so. But he even tried to get out. He offered $50 million in bail, right? His attorney was trying to help him get bail. The judge was like, I'm not hearing that. We know you might be a flight risk. We don't know. And his attorney was arguing that, listen, his family is here. He's not a flight risk. Here's $50 million we'll put down. Can he be on, home arrest, the ankle bracelets, like all of that. We'll watch over him. You don't have to worry about that. They was like, negative, son. It ain't going to happen. Right. He's going to stay right here. And it just goes to show you that you can have all the money in the world and it's not going to always get you out of trouble. Diddy was quoted, I've heard words come out of his own mouth saying, listen, I can do anything that I want. I am the freest, and he used the N-word too, I am the freest nigger in the world. He literally said that because he was so much on the top of this world, and it kind of made me feel bad in a way. And not it's hard to explain it because I feel horrible for the victims like Cassie and Lil Rod and all the other victims that, Danny Kane came out through charges against him. So he has a slew of charges, but I guess I felt bad in the sense that you see someone, a black man on top of the world like that fall from grace. And the impact that he's had on this world with his music. And I was at a party last night and, people, when they stopped playing R. Kelly music, people in the club last night saying, oh, we can't play Puffy music anymore. And the DJ was like, no, I'm still playing Puffy. It was kind of funny. But it's just that kind of impact he had on this world was just so sad. But the situation now, he's in MDC. He is now currently on suicide watch. His attorney is saying he's not suicidal, but it's just something that they have to do for precautionary measures. So everything has just boiled to a head this week. So he is now locked up and he's not going anywhere. He's probably going to be locked up until the trial happens, when we don't know when the trial is going to happen, right? They're working those details out now, but we'll see. But he's not getting out anytime soon. So I guess I just wanted to get your feedback and just your feelings on, obviously been covering this story since it happened. What's your whole thoughts on everything coming to a head this week, and basically your thoughts on this fall from grace, from the biggest thing in music to where he is today?
Yeah, and you used the term I was going to use, is fall from grace, right? Incredible, and just an incredible series of events that led to this. Although I think based off of what we know and what we think we know, I don't think anyone was surprised. It was just a matter of when, and you and I talked about this. We knew that this arrest was going to take place after the raids. Was trying to find out what was what. A whole bunch of, conspiracy theories have coming out, cover-ups, and people are saying so forth and so on, based off of who else may be involved. I don't know anything about that. I do believe that that Sean Combs will do time. Mm-hmm. I don't see him getting off. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to do a lot of time, right? Reason being, so we see the charges, mm-hmm. And they had, the list of, the charges against him.
Came with 1,000. They said thousands of bottles of baby oil.
Yeah.
Found in his
When you see
place.
those charges, the thing that kind of sticks out to me is the racketeering. So the
Yeah.
RICO. So you hit with the
RICO
RICO.
law, yeah.
Now think about this. It was the last time, and maybe you've seen it. It was the last time you saw a RICO charge with someone who was identified as the head of that organization get arrested, but none of the underlings. Right?
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
That tells me, and I don't know if it's true, that tells me people are talking.
Oh yeah.
So
because they're trying to save themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So if the underlings are talking because it was only one person doing the perp walk and that person was at the head of it, and the whole idea of putting that RICO when the law created that RICO back in 1970 was to actually go after the kingpins.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones not pulling the gun trigger.
Yeah.
Not actually touching the drugs.
Right.
So they had to come up with a crime or a charge that can apply that that crime to those in that position. But what that means is if the top person's there, then that means the underlings will be those ones.
Right.
But if you don't see them, that means that people are talking.
Right.
I also heard that they have evidence from the seizure. Phones, video recordings, audio recordings.
Yeah.
There's tons of stuff there.
Right.
Just an amalgamation of different things.
Right.
From gun charges, drugs, just a lot there. And I'm hard pressed to see how he comes from under that without doing any jail time. I don't care how much money he has.
Right.
Then, if there was any glimmer of hope, I think those were dashed because it's the federal prosecutors now. But because he was going across state lines and so on, so now it becomes federal prosecutors. And as we know, they're about 95% conviction rate. 90 of that 90% cop out. Right. So 90%. Right. So that again tells me, I think that's where it's going. I don't think I don't think this is going to trial.
Okay.
I think he will cop. I think all of those things, if it hasn't been done already, which I don't believe it has been put in front of him. I don't think the evidence has been put out and laid out in front of him. He may not even know who's testifying against him.
Right.
Once the DA puts all of that in front of him and he sees the case that sits before him in connection with the amount of years that's associated with, then you come up with the deal.
Okay.
I don't know. That also with the fact he may not want some of that stuff even said on public record in court, right? When they start pulling up evidence in that trial, should that thing go to trial?
Right.
I mean, some of the things he may not even want that stuff to become memorialized and documented. And, this is someone who was very much interested in his brand.
Yeah.
You would say something on Puff. Puff would call the radio station, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was very protective of that.
Right.
And so does he want all of that stuff out there? I don't know. Now, mind you, I don't know anything. I mean, who the hell knows?
Right.
But that's what I think. I think this is truly the end of an era. And
Wow.
you figure he's late 50s.
54.
54. I mean, listen, we could, assuming he gets convicted,
Right.
on some level. I mean, what's the minimum? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
he may not be back on the street until he's in his 60s.
Yeah. I think they said at least 15 years.
Right. So,
And
60s, 70s, something like that.
So you said you don't think you think that he will or he won't cop to it. When you say cop, what do you mean?
I think eventually he will.
Really?
I think he will take a deal.
I think he's sticking to his guns, man. You have to.
Well,
Like
listen. Again, I don't know if he wants the parade of witnesses
But it's gone too far already.
Right, but I don't think he wants the parade of witnesses actually going on record. And we don't know yet. This trial, assuming that it goes to trial, they may allow cameras in the courtroom. And just person after person going in and talking about, like, what do you do with 1,000 bottles of baby oil? I'm not making light of it, right? Because somebody was probably being, violated. But all of those things, the rumors and the innuendos that we've been hearing for years. Listen, Wendy Williams damn near made a career, right, on the back of Puff rumors.
He got her out of New York radio.
Right. All of this stuff comes out. All of these things.
Right.
His bouncer Gene, it comes out. Listen, we're talking a lot of the sexual things have a sexual overtone, but there's money laundering in there.
Sure.
There's drug trafficking, guns.
Yeah.
Right. There again, rumors, people talking, things in the wind that he may have had something to do with Biggie's assassination. And Lord knows I'm not putting it out there if it's conspiracy or whatever. I'm just saying what
I mean, you hear these reports and these stories are going
absolutely. So there's so much stuff there, right? Gene, his former bodyguard, talks about the check and the money that was received, and he saw the check.
Right.
Dude that was working for Puff, but that's the guy that's also, I forget his name, but it's also in connection to maybe possibly involved in Biggie's murder. So it's incredibly tangled web. Do you want all of that stuff to come out? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
I guess it's like, where would it, I see what you're saying. You don't want it to come, but I feel like he's already so deep in that I don't see him copping to making any better. You're saying it might help just because you wouldn't hear all those different stories and things like that. I don't really think that it's going to make it any worse.
Yeah, I think it does, because I think if you hear all of this and you get convicted anyway, there's a lot of families, man, a lot of brothers and cousins and uncles in them same prisons that you're about to go to.
Yeah,
it's like I don't think you're putting enough thought into when all of that stuff gets out and then you get carted off to jail, right?
It's
like
true.
You got some dudes waiting for you behind that shit. You know what I mean?
And
like,
he's in a special section right now there at MDC.
I just don't. I don't think you. I personally don't think you want that. And something that the feds do and many prosecutors do is there's so many charges.
Yeah.
Like he could beat a bunch of the charges and not beat one, and that one charge still be 15 to 20 years, right?
Right.
That's why they're going to do, they'll get convicted of multiple and they run them concurrently, right? So it's just too much. It's too much. He's got to volley all of the guns, the drugs, this one, that one, that, like all of that. They only need to convict you on one of those.
On one, and you're right. So his odds are very low.
Absolutely.
To beat it.
And so that's why they come with that indictment. Though all of those indictments, put all that stuff in it. Was it 14 pages, 40 pages, whatever it was?
Yeah, there's not a lot, 14 pages, but I mean,
but that's what you call that C indictment. So all of the granular details aren't all in there.
Okay, right.
So it's enough in there to kind of get the arrest, if you will.
Yep.
More is to come, man. Those things, hundreds of pages.
Wow.
And so they have all of that information, and here's the thing, also too. Diddy knows what they know. He knows what they know.
He knows more than they know.
Right.
Right.
He knows what they know.
He's like, oh, they're on to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what you don't want coming out. So that's the part. And how, like I said, I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is no one else perp walked. That was shocking to me. In a RICO, one person got arrested.
One person.
And maybe that happens a lot, but I'm not used to seeing anything. Doc, you're used to seeing any one person. We're out of the New York area, so we're used to seeing mobsters and a whole bunch come out with the RICOs and the kingpins and all of those other shit. But one person in a RICO, you see anything like that before?
Not in my lifetime.
Right.
Can't say I've seen one person, pretty much go down and no one else is behind them, or is at least three or four.
Right, two.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. That RICO is so wide.
Okay.
So the conspiracy that carries. So they talked about those. So individuals would go into a hotel room and prep it.
Right.
Prep it for these things. Well, a move or two here or there, and they can get charged as well too.
Okay.
If there's any way that you can prove that this person knew anything about what was happening, or the person calling the talent, or the sex workers, or all of this charge is sitting there waiting for all of them.
So
you think that they're not going to start, right? So that's the part.
Well, this is why I feel like, well, two things I questioned. Like, how did he know that maybe the Fed spoke to his attorneys? What made him actually come to New York? Like, he already knew. No. He knew of it, right?
Yeah, so that's my understanding, that he knew.
They told his attorney the Fed spoke.
Yeah, they all knew. They knew it was going to be a kind of a peaceful surrender. He didn't go in. They came and got him.
Right.
But
and that's why they're mad that he didn't get the bail, because it wasn't like, they arrested him, but it's more like he turned himself in.
Right, but they already knew that. I think the way it was kind of framed is they knew this was going to happen, and it would almost be like his lawyer saying to him, "Hey, this may be favorable for you if you do this. Here's what you can do. Come to New York, be there." And then when we go for bail, we can use this as an example. So he's not running. He actually came to New York.
And it didn't work.
Absolutely.
And it didn't work.
And it didn't work. Well, listen, man, if it was maybe I don't know, if it was maybe the money laundering by itself, I don't know.
Right.
But we start talking guns and violent crimes, and that, like, I don't know who's going to get bailed on that.
So how many others do you think is going to be taking a fall too? Because I hear a lot of celebrities and entertainers who, listen, people have partied with him all the time. And like you said, there are so many stories. I mean, Shine was speaking in an interview the other day about his experience that he had in the nightclub with him. And a woman came out saying that, Diddy is the one who pulled the trigger. And Shine was only 18 years old at the time. Right. And, young 18-year-old kid from Belize. He came here and he wanted to, do his craft and do his artwork. He just wanted to do his music. And the fact that, Diddy was so ruthless and made him, take the fall for him and spend all the amount of time in jail. And then when he came out, they deported him back to Belize, and right now he's doing politics over there. He's a politician over there, and he's doing very well and stuff like that. But he's speaking out about the Diddy that we never really knew. And I remember at that time being so upset at Jennifer Lopez was saying, like, damn, how did she leave? Because she was in the nightclub with him that night too, with China and everything. Oh man, you just left him. You left him out there to dry. And you think back about all the things you heard about Diddy back in the days, and you kind of just shoot off and said, maybe gave him the benefit of doubt. And, he's had his run-in with the laws before, but he always got out. Right. And you always thought he got a bad rap. But everything is just coming to play today, and you're seeing the real Diddy. And then on top of that, you're seeing all these people who worked with Diddy, who partied with him, Usher was he deleted some tweets from his page just the other day, just because there are people that's trying to separate from him now because they all partied with him. Right. We don't know what they knew, but then it's almost like, okay, if you and I went to a Diddy party and what if there were guys at Diddy's parties and they were getting their freak on or whatever like that, but they were just being men and just getting their freak on or whatever, not doing anything wrong except for just being freaks, not knowing about all these other things that he was involved with and things that he did. Should they face the fall because they were just hanging out with him, not having knowledge of the bad crimes that he was doing? Like, what's your thoughts on other people potentially taking the fall as well, just because they were, hanging out with him?
Well, I think there's going to be some awkward moments for some celebrities, right? Because their names are going to come out, and I don't know what's true and what's not. You see what was swirling around on the internet, but you did get the sense that there may have been like this kind of party event, something happening, but then there was also this kind of red door kind of thing behind the red door, if you will. And not everyone went back there, right? Sure. Right. So there was still a party and something going on. Yeah. And there may have been something salacious happening in another part of somewhere else. So I think it's important to point out that even though you may have attended, right? Yeah. That you weren't partaking in some of the other things. Yeah. And I think I think prosecutors are wise enough to know the difference. But I do believe, with that being said, that people are going to kind of dump it all in there together.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so that's where it may become a bit embarrassing for certain individuals because their name's going to come up, even if they didn't partake in anything.
Right.
Right. Salacious. Their name's going to come up. Listen, and for those that were involved, and I don't mean victims. Right. I mean the perpetrators.
Yeah.
They should be put on blast, and they should go to jail. And let's take a moment to talk about these folks, right?
Yeah.
Diddy, if all of this stuff is proven to be true, then he should go to jail. He should be under the jail, right? Yeah. Talking about young girls and young men and just all they made it clear. Like you read the indictment, it's like women and others. What the?
Yeah. We know what that means.
What the fuck is others?
Yeah, it's
like no, but like let's state it for others. So you said women, right? So he was violating women and others.
Sure.
So what did the prosecutors did they not want to say men? Did they not want to say?
Yeah, why would they not say that?
Right, like what is there something in there other than men? Like what the fuck is that?
Well, now we're going a whole nother
right. So I don't like. I don't even know. Like that shit is crazy. So like all of that stuff's gonna come out, man. So I think some of these celebrities, their names and they may have some explaining to do. But if they're involved in it, then I think they should go down.
They should most definitely because I know they're pissed off at him because like damn. But again. If you're a part of the problem and if you were dealing with him on that level, yes, and if you have knowledge of it, yeah. I guess I just feel bad for the people that just didn't. But you're saying hopefully prosecutors should be smart enough to know that, yes, that wasn't a situation that they knew about and they shouldn't go down. They can be questioned and they can explain themselves, but let's just hope that it doesn't, go around for that.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
I agree.